good morning, good afternoon. How are you? Good evening. It is Wednesday. We're back again, the 6th of October. It is time for the John Lavenia Success Mastermind. I'm your guy, Glen Henderson, today, and it's good to see all of you. It's a gorgeous sunny day here in Houston, Texas. There's a lot of days in Houston are gorgeous and sunny and gorgeous. So we're happy you're choosing to spend a little time with us. Daisy, nice to see you, and Suzanne is with us, and all those that are joining in with us on Facebook and watching the replay, and we're glad to see you. Glad to have you as part of our family. Let's do a little housekeeping first thing. What's happening? What's on the calendar today? You're in the general session, and right after this is the hospitality suite, where we've had some really cool conversations. I would love at some point for a couple of our friends, members, and people who are hanging out with us here to share a little bit about some of those great conversations in the hospitality suite. I know I've had some cool chats in there. So that's right after this. The hospitality suite, as I understand it, generally stays open most of the time. Anyway, so come hang out. Books for Britain this afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, with our good friend Mandy Anderson. And then, yes, ladies and gents, we are back tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, with Networking Magic. I am looking forward to chatting with you this evening once again. Oh, by the way, there's another little housekeeping thing going on. Ace Man is in the house. Good to see you, brother. So a few of us are getting together this coming weekend and next week, and we're going out to. Coming out to Pahrump, Nevada, to meet up with my good friend, Mr. the Godzilla himself, Mr. John Lavenia, and Virginia, and a whole bunch of us are coming out. And Daisy, I think you're going, right? Yes! Going to be great to see you. You know, it's funny. A lot of people will probably take note of the fact that when we get out to Nevada, we're doing a little lead therapy, which will be fun. And then we're going to Vegas. Some of us are going to Vegas, and we know, as we know, that what happens in Vegas is fun. Yes. So here's the thing. For most of us that are coming out to get together, we've been together as a family here in the mastermind for past a year now, well past a year. And for most of us, this will be the very first time that we're meeting in person. How crazy is that? You develop these relationships, you get to be good friends and so forth, and then you get to meet. It's going to be very cool. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about it. We're going to have ourselves a time. Now, I was thinking about what we're going to talk about here today. And I saw, here she is. It's our friend Mandy, and the host of Books for Britain. You all having a good time over there? Excellent. Very nice. So,
Yes, thank you.
the topic for today. It's a point of interest to me. It's always been a matter of interest to me, how people respond, how people rebound during tough times. Particularly, excuse me, little sniffle, no big deal. Particularly during tough times that we brought upon ourselves. Ooh. By our own mistakes, by our own errors, by our own failures. And as a matter of fact, I thought I had an idea and thought that I was originally thinking, well, maybe I should talk about because I actually wrote about this in the book. How people respond. Yeah, you've seen the book, right? Well, I need to know about it. Anyway, I wrote about this in the book, in my book, and I thought, well, let me talk about because you never get to hear me talk about Star Trek ever. I know I keep it to myself all the time. But I wrote about this in the book, and I was thinking, well, I should talk about the chapter that I wrote in about this whole matter of how to rebound from a disaster, an error, a mistake, and then I thought, well, nah, I mean, I already wrote the book, and why should I talk about? Well, you know what? I wrote the darn thing, so yeah, why not, right? So, the chapter in the book is I don't know. It's kind of opaque. It doesn't really get to the heart of the matter. You kind of have to dig in to figure out that what I'm talking about and what's being discussed. I'll demonstrate. I'll show you. The chapter in the book is, okay, so you've screwed up, big time. Now what? Now I know that none of us here in the glorious John Lavenia Success Mastermind, none of us has ever screwed up anything in life or in business or in relationship, right? No. Smooth as glass. Man, it's been a smooth ride, been a free ride, smooth as glass all the way. You've made all the right choices, haven't you? Of course, we all have. We've all taken the perfect path in our lives. We've all chosen just the right job at just the right time. And we've never had a problem in a relationship or made a poor financial decision. No, we never have, right? It's funny. I'm going to tell a tale on myself, if that's all right with you. I'm going to tell you about probably the worst financial decision that I've ever made. One of the worst. It's certainly in the top 2 or 3. I was once working, I got a computer consulting job at a large company in New York. I was then in the middle of my career as a Mac computer consultant, which, by the way, as an aside, I'm pretty excited these days because there's been a technology refresh in the Henderson house. Just got me a brand new, beautiful iMac computer that I'm sitting here looking at you on right now. It's fantastic, really great, and got a new iPad too. See, what I decided to do. My laptop was getting kind of old. I know I am coming back to the story about me and the big company and the screw up. Don't just hang with me here. I had this laptop, a MacBook. It's a Mac laptop, and I've had it for 6 years, something like that, 6 or 7 years, and it was okay. It was state of the art when I got it. Now it's about 5 or 6 versions behind the latest technology, and it's kind of slowed down and not working quite as well. But I have thought of a use for it. I'm not just going to turn it in to Apple, because they have that program where you can recycle, trade it in and get money toward a new computer. No, I know a guy through one of my networking connections. I know a guy, yeah, there's that word again, that term, right? I know a guy who accepts donations of computers, old cell phones, old laptops, old technology. He and his team refurbish them, refresh them, clean them up and everything, and then they donate them, they give them to U.S. military veterans who are in need of work or who are in need of trying to start a business or something like that, but they just don't have the money right now, let's say, to buy a new computer or whatever. So my buddy Chris takes used computers, refreshes them, and then gives them to the veterans to help them on their way. Isn't that fantastic? Absolutely amazing. So my old laptop is going over to Chris, and it's going to help some deserving veteran get moving down the road to success. Fantastic. So pleased. But I wanted to refresh. So now I've got the computer here, and then the iPad, which I carry around, so I'm straight wherever I go, and I don't have to lug a big, heavy laptop. You see what I mean? So it's nice. Anyway, back to the story. I was working for this company, and I will say that their IT, their tech support department, was so bad at servicing their Mac clients in-house that the employees, the graphic designers and so forth, had actually stopped calling the IT department, and they were going outside the company, engaging their own private consultants to come in and help them with their Mac issues. Now, how bad is that? That's pathetic. They're not even calling the IT department anymore. So what I did was I went in. All of this is going somewhere. I went in, and I spent the first couple of months just walking around the building. It was a big building, talking with all of the people there who were using Macs, the IT people, the graphic designers, the cybersecurity dudes, and all these people, and just talking with them. What's going on? I'm curious. Why'd you stop calling IT? Well, they don't know anything about what my needs. They don't know what kind of technology I really, you see, and so once I had conversations with everybody and gotten a list of all of these things, that these complaints and needs and demands and problems and pain points, as we call them, I then went back down to the IT department and went to work, resolving these things one at a time, and then putting in place systems and processes and reporting systems so that they could get in touch with me directly and have their problems addressed. And if I may be allowed a moment to, I basically rebuilt their Mac support department. It was great. It was really fulfilling, a fantastic job. And when the end of the consultancy period came, right, when the end of my contract, the company asked if I would consider coming on with them as a full-time employee. And I said, I'll tell you what, take my hourly rate, which, as a consultant, your hourly rate is much higher than the average job salary, right? So I said, tell you what you do. If you're willing to take my hourly rate, convert it, and make that my annual salary, I'll come on with you. They said, okay. Whereupon I immediately said, damn it, I should have asked for more. So anyway, I went on to work with them for a couple more years until they merged with another large company. And the very first thing they did when Company A, where I was working, merged with Company B, very first thing they did was dissolve Company A's IT department, laid everybody off. As will happen, right? Disappointed and everything, but you understand it's the way of the world, right? It's I hate this phrase, but it is what it is. Anyway, so when the time came for my negotiation of separation, they offered me, and here's the mistake. You ready? I was offered two choices. I was offered a choice of either 6 months of salary continuation with full benefits, or a lump sum equivalent to 6 months' salary. A lump sum payout equivalent to 6 months' salary. I wanted at that time, I was going through a divorce at that time from my first marriage, and so I needed to hire an attorney, and also I wanted to get a new computer because at that time my old computer was just dead. So those two things. So I thought, okay, let me take the lump sum payment, the cash payout. I can get a new computer. I can take care of it. Yeah. 6 months salary at full benefits, or cash payment equivalent to 6 months salary. The cash payment that was supposed to be 6 months salary after taxes ended up being about 6 weeks salary, which was almost enough to pay my divorce lawyer. Ooh, yeah. You can say it, please. Say it with me. Glenn, that was a dumbass move. Yes, it was. Because if I had taken the 6 months salary, full benefits and everything, I could have gone ahead and gotten another job someplace else, which I did eventually. And that money would have continued. And can you imagine how much better a financial place I might have been had I taken that job? It took me a long, long time to dig out from under that bonehead move. So, telling you that, I've said all that to say, I am the first person to look at in the way of screw ups. So, you've screwed up big time. Now what? In this chapter of the book, I tell a story of a young lady who had been part of a cover-up into the death the death of a cadet at Starfleet Academy, the military academy. She participated in a cover-up of the facts, and punishment was swift and severe, and she somehow managed to continue and finish her academy training and education, and then she was posted to the Enterprise, the USS Enterprise. Okay? Then, after she comes aboard ship, she's called into a meeting with Captain Jean-Luc Picard, where he gives her a pretty serious dressing down regarding the thing that had happened back at the academy, the cover-up, the death, and the accident, the death, and the cover-up, and everything else. And he reamed her butt good about it, and he says, you participated in not only the daredevil stunt, but the cover-up and everything else. And he says, as far as I'm concerned, you should have been expelled for what you did. And quite frankly, I don't know how you made it on board this ship. Now, I thought about that. As I was watching that episode the first time, I thought about how would I feel starting a new job someplace, and the first meeting I have with the big boss is he brings up some terrible event from my past. How would it have been, for example, if I had gone over to the Middle East? Remember I told you I lived over there, and the first job I had, I'm called into my boss's office and he says, Glenn, I don't know how in the world you made it over here, especially after that stupid move you pulled at that company where you took that bad financial decision and lost all. I don't understand it. I don't understand how we ever hired you in the first place. How somebody can make a move, make a decision as idiotic as that, and then come over here and expect us to trust you to make good decisions. Come on, man. Now, if somebody had had that conversation with me, I can't imagine how I would have responded. But I can tell you how Ensign Cito Jaxa responded. She was reminded of how she could respond by Lieutenant Worf. You know, the Klingon who serves aboard the Enterprise. They're in one of his martial arts training classes, and he tells her that he thinks she is ready for more advanced studies, more advanced Klingon martial studies. But she must first pass the Geek-Tal Challenge. What is the Geek-Tal Challenge? Well, first thing he does is blindfolds her. He tells her that this Geek-Tal Challenge is designed to test her knowledge of the forms of the Klingon martial arts. And so he blindfolds her, puts her on the mat. Defend yourself. Of course, how can she defend herself? She can't see. She gets kicked around. He tosses her, bounces her all around the gym. And she finally rips the blindfold off and says, "Come on, it's not a fair test." He says, "Congratulations, very good. You have passed the challenge." That was it? That was the challenge. He says, "It takes courage to say the test is unfair." Oh, I see. Oh, but wait a minute. Wait a minute, Lieutenant Worf. Doesn't the Klingon phrase Geek-Tal mean to the death? Well, as a matter of fact, it does. Interesting, you speak Klingon. And she says, "Is there really any such thing as the Geek-Tal Challenge?" He says, "No, there is not. But perhaps next time you are judged unfairly, it will not take so many bruises for you to protest." So that gave her the idea, gave her a little courage. So she goes back and sees the captain and basically says to him, "It's not your place to judge me for what happened back then." And here's the key. She says, "During my time aboard the Enterprise, my work has been exemplary. If you're going to judge me for what I am now." Captain agrees, and then he lets her know that the dressing down he gave her before was not really about the thing that happened back at the academy. He was testing her because he has the senior staff has been presented, the senior officers have been presented with a very dangerous mission, and he's considering her for this mission, and it's the kind of mission that would involve a situation much more unnerving, as he says, than a dressing down from your commanding officer. Oh. And then she goes on and completes the mission with distinction. So what's the point of all this? It's a cute story from a TV show, right? Yeah, they're all cute stories from TV shows, but there's a point. Here's the point. The point is what to do after you've screwed up, after you've made the big mistake, after you've blown up your finances, or your marriage, or your job, or whatever it might be. What do? Do you sit down and tear your clothes and put on a hair shirt and flog yourself? Woe is me. Some people do. Some people come through an experience like that where they've made a colossal blunder, a colossal error. I know of military veterans who now have to live with the fact that they made a poor decision, a bad decision, and the bad decision that they made cost lives. Hopefully none of us is in a situation that dire. But I'm sure all of us can think back to a time when we have made a decision that was so bad in that context that it cost us money. It may have cost us a reputation. It may have cost us opportunities. It may have cost a relationship, a marriage. It may have cost us dearly. So what do? Do you give up? You throw up your hands? Oh, well, that's it. I've screwed it up. No sense in trying harder anymore. Some people do give up. Or do you pick yourself up, learn from the experience? I heard in a movie, Top Gun, that was the movie, where one character says to another, a good pilot is compelled in the case of an accident or something, a bad outcome. A good pilot is compelled to evaluate what's happened so he can apply what he's learned. Does that decision occur to us to evaluate what's happened, review what I did, the choices I made, the steps I took, the results of those steps, make the connection, learn the lesson, and then move on and work twice as hard in the future going forward, so that when the next evaluation comes, when the next judgment is rendered, I can stand on my work, I can stand on my reputation and my results since the initial incident. That's what you do. You stand on your work after the mistake. I'll tell you this, since that financial debacle that I visited on myself back in 2001, I have never made so poor, so immature, so short-sighted a financial decision ever again. I can tell you what, at least in that one instance, I learned my lesson. So it says here, you mind if I read a couple of lines from the book? The book says it even better than I can, because it's already down on paper. Are you willing to bet your job, your business, your future on the quality of your work today, even after a mistake that seemed so disastrous at the time that you thought you'd ruined everything? Or will you give up? Will you throw up your hands and say, oh, what's the use? I've ruined everything. I missed my chance. Will you choose? Oh, you've heard me talk about that word, haven't you? Will you choose to release the guilt of your past and to rededicate yourself to excellence in this moment, which, after all, is the only thing you can control anyway? By the way, the mission, the dangerous mission that the captain spoke of, it was a very, very dangerous mission indeed. And it was a mission that our young friend Sito Jaxa, as I said, completed with distinction. As Captain Picard said, made an announcement to the whole ship. He says, to all Starfleet personnel, this is the captain. It is my sad duty to inform you that a member of the crew, Ensign Sito Jaxa, has been lost in the line of duty. She was the finest example of a Starfleet officer and a young woman of remarkable courage and strength of character. Her loss will be deeply felt by all who knew her. Picard out. So, after the death, after the accident, after the death, after the cover-up, after a monstrously humiliating dressing down from her captain, after that, all of that, Sito was willing to stake her reputation on her performance since the mistake, since the screw up. Are we am I willing to start from that line back then, way back when, and stake our reputation on the performance, on the results that we've produced since then? Ooh, it's something to think about. And it's an encouragement to all of us to never, never, never quit, either physically or mentally. Never allow ourselves to think that we can't come back. Because we can always come back. As a friend of mine used to say, a setback is just a setup for a comeback. I like that. Somebody ought to write that down. A setback is just a setup for a comeback. Nice. Well, that's what I've been thinking about today. And you know where I got that idea? Where I got the idea to share this and for us to talk about this today? You know where I got this idea? In the place where I almost always get my best ideas. In the shower. It's true. It is absolutely true for me. I don't know why. I heard somebody say something the other day. Said the shower is the best place in the world for two things: to get clean and to win old arguments. I'm standing in there and I'm thinking about, oh man, if only I'd said that. Boy, that would have put them in their place or something like that. So I get a whole bunch of great ideas in the shower. And this one I thought was a pretty good one. And I thought I'd share it with you. What do you think? Have you, I'm not asking anybody for any true confessions here. Have you ever screwed up? Have you ever seriously dropped the ball? What happened after that? Because that's what's really important. What happened after you dropped the ball? And I know that there are people who have allowed a mistake, a grievous error, to haunt them for years and hold them back and keep them from fully realizing their potential, from fully living their life after that. Do you know anybody like that? This is how people maybe end up turning to drink and to drugs and to other kind of things to sort of medicate themselves emotionally, to forget about the screw up, although we never really do. I'm working on some stuff these days. I'm always doing training seminars and reading books and watching videos and such. I'm working on some stuff right now that, if it works, it might very well present me with a way to not go back to those old stories anymore. You know the best way to not go back to an old story? Write a new one. So that's kind of what I'm working on these days. Anyhow, that is what I had on my brain today. And if you've got a thought about it, I'd love to. Allison, you have unmuted yourself.
Oh, I have. That was unintentional, but actually I did want to say something, so I was just going to look for my hand up. It's wonderful, Glenn. Thank you. It's so, of course, it's so true, unbelievable. And I know that we did a property mistake many years ago, which if we had not made that, if we had not sold this property, we would have just been in such a different financial situation.
Those kind of mistakes can get expensive.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just as a crazy thing to do, but we were living abroad and we were getting kind of getting entrenched in life there and not thinking we were going to come back to the UK. And of course we sold our property in the UK. And I'm quite, I think with everything that I've read and things, I just don't think about it. I think, we've got lots, we're going to make it in the future. It's all there for us and we'll get it back. but my husband really, really has been struggling. And this was 20 years ago, and he still brings it up, still brings it up.
Wow.
And blames himself and all of that. And it's really, really, it can be so, debilitating if you have something that just keeps coming back and keeps haunting you like that.
Yeah. And I I understand that because I haven't made that particular kind of error financially, but I think all of us can relate to that thing that seems to keep coming back to haunt us.
Mm.
And
But it's not healthy, is it? It really,
no, it
really
isn't.
do need to work at it to it's that thing that it's gone. It's just
Yeah.
gone. And to look forward, and I love what you said about it's time to, just write a new story. That's exactly it.
I think that I think maybe a way out of this or a solution to this could be in this whole thing of the fact that I've done a little bit of studying in NLP, what they call it, neuro linguistic programming, and one of the principles is that in every person's life, our experiences. How can I put it? How can I put this in a way that makes sense? Our experiences aren't really real, in a sense.
Mm.
Aren't real. What's really real for us is the story we tell ourselves about those experiences. You see what I mean? And
Mm.
so, look, what happened? People say, "Oh, I screwed it up." No, 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 no. Wait, what happened? In my case, I was presented with choice A and choice B. I chose B. The results were what they were, set me back financially. All it, all that happened was I chose door number 2. The thing that screwed me up emotionally for a long time and mentally was the story I kept telling myself about having chosen door number 2. See, and if I may, with all due respect, I imagine that what your husband is doing is continuing to tell himself the same old story about that financial decision. When what really happened was you made a decision, you sold a piece of property or whatever the choice that you made, and there was the result was a financial loss, or perhaps you didn't make as much money as you were hoping, or whatever it was. So really, all that happened was you sold a house, let's say, if that's what it was. You sold a house.
Yeah,
So what?
that's exactly it.
Right? And listen, I'm really not trying to make light of your husband's mental situation. I mean, that's between you guys. I think maybe if we start to look at our experiences, our choices as simply that, as events, what happened? Now, what story am I going to tell myself about what happened? And maybe that's can be the difference in resolving some of these things in our own mind in such a way that they no longer debilitate us, that they no longer hold us back. My 2 cents.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Right?
Bang on. What book was it, Mandy, where we there was that example? It's a book that we've done recently in book club about where there's an example of a businessman who loses $250,000, and he's saying, "Oh, my life's over, and I've lost all this money, and I'm never going to be able to. I'm such a bad businessman, and all of this." And the guy just says, "No, you've just lost $250,000. That's it. You're putting on
Mm.
all this fake false stuff over it. Your life's not over. You're not a bad businessman. You just lost $250,000. That's it." All the pictures we put on it, like exactly what you just said, all the
Yeah.
thoughts and the way we think of it.
Yeah.
Psycho-cybernetics, probably.
Psycho-cybernetics.
That's it. Yeah.
It reminds me. This reminds me of a story of a famous person of recent times, Donald Trump. And this is not going to be a political commentary, He was years and years and years ago, before he entered politics. He was interviewed on a talk show, and the host said to him, "Mr. Trump, you're built, this real estate empire, hotels and everything. You're a billionaire, multi-billionaire. It's fantastic." He says, "But I wonder, what if you lost it all? What if through some reverses, and what if you went bankrupt? What if you lost all your money and your empire, everything? What would you do?" And Donald Trump said, "Simple. I have the skills. I know how to create wealth. I would start over, and I would get it back all over again." So see, that to me, that interview has stayed with me all these years, and it strikes me as a prime example of someone who is unencumbered by the practice of telling himself crappy stories about his past choices, his past mistakes. He's made some, as we all have, but the key, it seems like, is to not get hung up on what happened. My friend Todd Falcone says it's very difficult to drive a car while looking in the rearview mirror the whole time. Difficult and dangerous. So, as much as we might feel embarrassed, see, there's the thing, right? Embarrassed, humiliated. What will people think? Well, the fact is, most people don't think at all in the first place, as we know. And in the second place, most people, they're too busy worrying about their own problems to be thinking about you. So maybe we just start, as we say, we start telling ourselves different. Mandy, our good friend, what's happening?
Hello, Glenn. This reminded me of something that happened. Well, we've all done mistakes, as you say, but there was something where, when I used to work at a further education college, because of the role that I was in, which was the information manager, and the way that our government works over here, you have to, the colleges and the schools and everything have league tables, and whatever the computer says is what goes. So if the computer says this, doesn't matter what really happened, if what's in the computer says this, that's what goes into those league tables. And part of my responsibility was making sure that this information was correct. And that's taking all the information from all the students and sending it all back to the government. And one of the things I did was, there was something I put incorrectly on the system, because it was quite confusing, and I put something incorrectly, and what it meant was that the success rates that they should have had were about 2% less than what they should have been. But that was so important to them. So my issue was that I could make something which was probably a smallish mistake, but felt like a huge mistake because it affected everybody in the whole college.
Wow.
And I did hold on to it for quite a long time, probably too long. But I did take responsibility for it. I said, yes, it's my fault. But I could see that the curriculum director wasn't that happy, so I just kept out of his way for a week, because it was at Christmas time it comes out. But I think you get to the point, and Ali's husband probably may get to the point, that he has to forgive himself, because you can't keep it. You can't change anything. And once it's done, it's done. And there is a poem that I remembered as you were saying it, and I'll just read it out, but I'm going to put it in the chat as well. But I used this years ago. But it basically says, the moving finger writes, and having writ moves on. Not all your piety nor wit shall lure it back to cancel half a line. Not all your tears wash out a word of it. Which basically means you can't change anything. It's happened. It's in the past. And I put that up once, and it's like, you're wasting your energy now, because you can be upset about it, you can beat yourself up about it, but nothing's going to change. It's happened, isn't it? And so no matter what you do, you have to stop crying about it, because it's never going to change. You just, as you say, you learn by it, you work out what you did wrong, and then you move on to the next time. But I just really like that poem.
Moving finger writes, and having writ
moves on.
I like it.
So I'll put it in the chat. I also heard today, you've probably heard because you're in Texas, that James T. Kirk, otherwise William Shatner, is going to go into space at the age of 90. So I thought, oh wow, because he was my favorite.
Yes, aboard the Blue Origin.
Yes,
Blue Origin. That's going to be quite a day.
can't wait to see that.
Oh yeah, that's going to be something. A uh, a um, a completion of the circle, in a way.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
How
Thanks,
about
Glenn.
that? How
Thank you.
about that? Thank you, Mandy. Well, I think we may have come to a a point where we sort of call it a day. And unless someone's got a final comment they'd like to make, just a reminder that at 3 this afternoon, oh, Hospitality Suite right after us here, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, Books for Britain. You're still working on Integrity is Everything.
Yeah, we're doing a couple of chapters a week.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent. And then come on back tonight and see me, 9 Eastern, Networking Magic. Thanks so much for spending a few minutes with us, making it absolutely. Oh, I keep forgetting. I need to do this. Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time is when my TV show, Networking Now, airs on nowmedia.tv. I'm going to put the information, the connection information, into the Mastermind Facebook group so that everyone will have access to that. Love to see you all come on out. And as a matter of fact, my special guest 1 week from this Friday, that is Friday, October 15th, live from Las Vegas. It's going to be a 1 hour, 1-to-1 conversation with me and the Godzilla himself, Mr. John Lavenia, is going on TV. Can you believe it? It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Don't want to miss that one. In the meantime, make it a fabulous day, my friends. You absolutely deserve it. We shall see you later on today. Bye for now.